Hello, amazing parents and caretakers, and welcome to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. I'm your family empowerment coach, Celia Kibler. I'm a mom of a blended family of 5 kids. I'm a grandma of 9 kids, an author, a teacher, a speaker, and a consultant with over 40 years of training and real-life parenting experience. I'm here to offer you practical, doable tips, strategies, and techniques that will pump up your parenting skills and create peace, love, and laughter throughout your family. In addition, I'll be interviewing some great humans that are on a mission to make your life a better, happier, and healthier life. So let's not waste any time and get started with the next episode of the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the International Day of Calm Summit.
And here is Maddi Cheers. Welcome to the summit, Maddi.
Am I unmuted?
You are.
There I go. Okay.
And happy International Day of Calm to you.
Happy International Day of Calm to everybody, to you. Yay. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me again. So I wanted to open with 2 quotes from Mother Teresa. And I think these 2 quotes really describe where we need to go in terms of becoming a calm world and becoming a calm person. Because if you think of, the famous quote from Gandhi, where he says, be the change you wish to see in others. Everybody often misquotes it as be the change you wish to see in the world, which is good too. That's good too. However, what he actually said was be the change you wish to see in others. So if you're expecting someone else to be different, make sure you're the different you're expecting in somebody else. So, it's like one of my favorite quotes ever. It's not even a quote. It's an old adage attributed to a million different cultures. But when you point the finger at someone else, there are 3 pointing back at you. And like Celia said, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. So I just want to read these 2 of my favorite quotes from Mother Teresa that really guide my life. We need to find God, and he cannot be found in noise and restlessness. God is the friend of silence. See how nature, trees, flowers, grass grows in silence. See the stars, the moon, and the sun, how they move in silence. We need silence to be able to touch souls. And then this very famous one. If we have no peace, it is because we have forgotten that we belong to each other. So I think those 2, which if I could figure out how to write in the chat, I would put them up. But anyway, I'll send them. We'll post them somewhere. But those 2 things I think really describe what we're going for in the International Day of Calm. And it is very important to also add in there taking yourself lightly, because a lot of times when we go and we do art, people start out with that idea of, oh, I'm not an artist. Oh no, do I really want to do this? Do I really want to try this? Because a lot of us don't think of ourselves as artists, even though we are all creators. We are born creative. That is how we are. And when I'm referring to something spiritual, like the quote from Mother Teresa, it doesn't mean, she was Catholic, for those of you that know about her. And that means that to her, God is referred to in the masculine. You can insert whatever you believe in or don't believe in, but the teaching is that if we're going to reach our higher self and our divine self, we've got to calm down and be quiet. And the best way for me to do that turned out to be drawing mandalas, which are circular based, or mandalas, depending on which pronunciation you prefer. They are circular based drawings because the circle is the oldest symbol that lives in our brain. And, you know, if you follow Carl Jung, which I'm not going to get into, but he talks about the symbolism that we all recognize. The circle is the oldest symbol for the divine. The circle with the dot in it, also another ancient symbol, one of the first ones for the divine. So there is some power in the circle. When we look at everything in the world that really, really is powerful, it's in a circle. There's nothing that grows in nature that's a square or a rectangle or that shape at all, which doesn't mean there's anything wrong with us creating those shapes and using those shapes if they appeal to us. I mean, if you look behind me, that's a beautiful Pendleton blanket created by a Plains Indian artist. And for the Plains Indians, their decorations are often geometric. And that it doesn't mean that your choice of beauty is the wrong choice. So the first thing we always want to get rid of with art is judging it, judging ourselves, judging other people's art. I mean, you certainly put art in your house because it's what you have judged to be beautiful, but not judging in a way that we're so hypercritical. And especially when it comes to dealing with ourselves. So the way I started doing this, just very briefly, was because I went into therapy several years ago. I've always had anxiety, and anxiety to the level of being unreasonable at moments, like truly freaking out over something I believed I had done wrong. And I mean, way beyond just going, like what Anita said, way beyond just saying, oh, I made a mistake. Like completely losing all rationality. And I've had that anxiety lead to raging in people also. You can ask Celia. I mean, when we were younger, I used to do just what my father did. I would get really angry. I would rage at my sisters. By the time I left the house, my brother, I'm 11 years older than my little brother. And really I didn't take that out on him. And I think it's just a matter of being far enough removed. Not that I'd reached any tremendous level of self-awareness by the age of 17, but maybe a little more. So, but by now, by the age of 71, and having studied cultures all over the world and having done this practice of mandala meditation for 20 odd years now, I can really see, and I can attest to the fact that when you bring art into your life at those moments when you're feeling least confident and least calm, that it really has a transformative effect. And it's at least worth giving it a shot. So when I started doing mandalas, it was at the suggestion of my therapist, Celeste, who is a Jungian and Gestalt therapist, and who Carl Jung himself, Dr. Carl Jung himself, started drawing mandalas, very, very famous ones, beautiful and amazing ones, and they reflected his dreams. Mine, I'm not exactly sure that I would say they reflect dreams of mine, but I will say that when I'm drawing them, I let my hand kind of guide me. I don't really think about it. And what I find really interesting in what I do in doing this is that I fill in the empty spaces, which I'm sure is an art principle. And Celia or Linda could tell you about that. But I never thought of myself as an artist. I thought of them as great artists. My mother was a terrific artist, but I never thought of myself as a drawing artist. I'm a storyteller. I sing. I used to dance. I act. So that was my realm of art. But I want to say that as soon as I started this mandala practice, this practice of drawing things in circle, I would also receive 2 lines of poetry while I was drawing, and I would hear them repeated over and over in my head. And after that started, I would just sort of know when it was time to stop drawing. And then I would write the 2 lines. And from there, in what some people refer to as automatic writing or channeling. I would just write, just everything would write. I brought one example to show you because of, again, being technically challenged. I don't have pictures that I can put up here, but I'll show you what it looks like. That's one of them. And then the poetry goes all around it. And very often it spirals around like that. Also, ancient symbol for the universe, the creator. Very often it spirals and sometimes in the very early days, it never spiraled. I would say the spiral stuff started maybe about 5-10 years ago. But in the beginning, I would be writing alongside of a poem or alongside of a mandala that I was drawing. So here's another one, just so you can kind of see. That's one. So there's no wrong way to do it. That's basically what you have to tell yourself. You know, if you look at Carl Jung's mandalas, they're very complex. If you look at the mandalas done by the Buddhist monks when they do the sand mandala, very complex. But for you, as a person who is seeking a way to meditate or a way to become calm, it's whatever works for you. I mean, we do them as a group, and I meant to put these up, but I didn't. So I will try and put it up, or get Anupam or Celia to put it up. But as a women's circle, we do a nature mandala every season. So we make one 4 times a year with the different things from nature that we gather that represent that particular season, which is a wonderful, 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 wonderful activity to do with children. It's really, really fun. And having everybody gather things from nature, you can do it in a park often, you can do it in someone's backyard, have the kids gather things from nature, have some of the parents maybe bring flowers that you can add in, especially in spring or summer, and then just kind of organize everything on a mat. Make sure you've got a mat outside with you that you can put all the different things that people have brought in order to do the mandala, and then kind of take it from there. And it's amazing how quiet and calming it is for everybody. I mean, there'll be a little chit chat going on, certainly about what we're going to place here, where we're going to put this there. But at a point when you get going, you'll notice that the group will start to become quieter and quieter. And the end result is always beautiful, always. And again, no judgment. You know, it's going to be what it'll be. So how about we try this? So I'm going to go to my high-tech whiteboard back here. Ta-da! Can we see this? Is this good? Mine looks fuzzy. Is this clear for everybody? I hope. So I'm going to.
It looks kind of fuzzy.
It does look fuzzy.
Why is that?
I don't know. Because why?
On a bomb. Oh, wait. What are you doing? Do more of that.
Was it me? It might be the camera.
Yeah. Well, you had it, so it wasn't fuzzy.
I don't know what to do. Sorry, guys.
It's the autofocus. You can just go back, try to start. We'll let you know if it's still fuzzy.
Go back. What do you mean, try to start? Like
on the board, because it is either the autofocus.
The white, maybe I need to take out a light.
Go back to the board. Go back to the board and see if it autofocuses to the board.
Okay, let's see.
That's better.
Focus.
Yeah, that's better.
That's better. Yippee. All right, remove the chair. Hold, please. Technical difficulties. Let's see. So I have, I think, 4 colors here. So what I always do, whether I'm answering a question that someone has asked me personally, I will ask them what colors. Whoa, now I'm really fuzzy. Uh-oh. I feel like it might be the light. Hold it.
You know what, Maddie? Can you write on the whiteboard on Zoom?
Can I write on the whiteboard on Zoom?
So if you go and you look at the lower area of Zoom where it has like little icons and menus, it says whiteboards.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And it's really fun. You'll like it.
Okay, hold it. All right. Oh, this is where we need young people sitting next to me. All right, where am I going? To more?
Down, do you see whiteboard? Yeah, try more if you don't see whiteboard.
Whiteboard.
Click on that.
Okay. New whiteboard.
See how we stay calm? And
I
then you
can't
can draw
open-
you can draw on it.
I can't open a whiteboard during a screen share, it says.
You're not screen sharing.
All right. Am I on a whiteboard? Nope.
On a palm. On a palm. We may need your help here.
If you want, I
See,
can
we
share
stay
the whiteboard
calm.
from my end as well.
Okay.
Then you can just edit it out. There you go. I've shared it. Can you please see it?
Okay. So I can now draw on this. How? Do I hit the little
You get a little pencil on the side. See on the side, I think you have a little pencil. Draw.
Okay.
Try to draw something
Wait a second.
with your mouse.
Nope. Nothing yet.
So
Hold
you
it.
see there's tools.
I do see that.
So pick a tool.
All right, I picked a pen. Still nothing.
You may have to pick the color black.
Okay.
See, this is how you stay calm when technology doesn't really go your way.
I know.
Now try to draw.
Okay, I'm picking dark green. Still not drawing. Wait. It's drawing.
We don't see it.
Ooh.
How's it drawing? I don't see any drawing.
You don't see anything?
Oh, yeah, I see it. I see it. I see
There you
it.
see it.
Yay. Okay.
And
We
by
got
this
it.
time, Celia, it's just you and me.
No, we got it. We got scribble.
Okay, where's it going?
Turn it into.
I need my semi-green circle back. Sort of a circle.
I
almost
see
a
it.
circle. All right, but I also got a black line over here.
Okay, well, just ignore that. Go away.
Okay.
Just go back to your circle.
All right, can I move the circle? Will the circle go back to the center?
If you move your screen, I think your screen is shifted.
Oh. Nope.
Bear with us.
All right. Hold, please. Technical difficulties.
No worries, Maddie, we're with you. And if you want, Kanan can again, hop on the meeting. And as you can draw the draft, while she can finalize the whole thing and show it to everybody, if you
I
like.
erased your line.
Okay. That's great, Conan. Beautiful.
Actually, let Cannon draw.
Let Conan draw it. That's a much better idea.
And you can talk about it.
Okay, Conan, let's do that. You'll draw and I'll talk about it because otherwise, God only knows. Look at that circle. It looks like
She'll
a
be here in
baby.
just 2 minutes.
Okay.
Cannon, can you do that?
Yeah, she'll be here in just 2 minutes.
Oh, she'll be here in 2 minutes.
Well,
So
you know what? I'll kind of start as best as I can.
For sure.
So let's say you draw your center circle.
no criticism, Maddie,
No
even for
judgment.
yourself.
You figure out what you want around it. Okay. This is hilarious.
Oh, that's good.
This is like when I'm teaching a class and I have to have the kids come up and do the smart board for me. Smart board, dumb teacher. Because I can't.
We're laughing with you.
I know.
Not at you.
I teach symbols to kids and it's much better if I have a kid come up and do it. But anyway, so you're going to get your initial drawing around the symbol. And then the idea is to fill in the empty space. And this really does make you focus on whatever it is you want to be creating. So I don't know that I'm going to go all the way around on this. I think I'll just give you an example of what this would be. Then you could change colors. It helps if you decide on what colors you want ahead of time. That's what I do. That's what I ask people to do when I'm drawing a mandala, to see if I can get an answer to a question they have. So I just went to purple. So I'm sorry. It's my 3-year-old self drawing. My inner
You're
child.
channeling your inner child.
But I mean, as you can
And
see,
laughter is the best medicine. So
true. As you can see, going around, no, I'm never going to be able to do this. It's like filling in empty spaces. So maybe we should go back to
Czar has some pictures if she's able to put them up of your nature mandalas
Oh, that's cool.
and some of your other mandalas. And maybe while you're doing this, she can put them up.
But I will say this, if you're doing this with kids and they're having a happy time making their mandala, and it looks like this one right here, just let them keep going.
Exactly. It's getting better, Maddie. You're getting to be an expert.
Oh, yeah. Nice of you to say. And then, like, I usually do, I mean, I could have, some of mine have all the colors in the rainbow. Some have like 3, some have 4. I did one for a friend. She was very concerned about, her question was, would she ever find someone to be her, to be a mate? And what happens is, if I draw the mandala in the colors that you've given me, then sometimes an answer to your question will come, and sometimes it won't. That's why I never guarantee that kind of thing. But I think what you do when you're doing this is you really pay attention to what you're drawing, and then it empties your mind, and then whatever message you need can come into your mind.
And we hope that you're doing your drawing at home.
Yes. I hope that you're trying.
And Maddie and I sound a lot alike, so you don't even know who this other voice is.
Okay, so we're going to do, let's go to, oh, I like that color. So let's go here. So maybe you want to put something in the middle of your circle, right? And then maybe you want it, a lot of times if I have a heart, it'll be in the middle, or else sometimes I start like this. It depends on what hits me for the day. I like this beginning also. If I'm not starting with a circle, I'll do a beginning kind of like this with an infinity sign. Infinity's looking a little rocky lately, but you can start with anything. And then from there, again, it's just whatever you think, however you want to fill in things.
And what a great activity to do with your kids.
Oh gosh, it's really, really fun. And the idea that you're going in a circle is very easy for them to understand. So obviously not easy for me to understand with a mouse, but it's very easy for them. And like I said, the circle has a sort of universal subconscious appeal to it. So I think it lives there in all of us, which kind of makes it easier to do. Whoop. And then the other thing that I do a lot of this now. I'm looking in this book to see if I've got one. But a lot of what I do now has to do with spirals. And so that's with, also let me show you this. So that's the ones I showed you were with fine point markers, and then I'll do a combination sometimes of fine point. I'll show you that when I have the camera up again, of fine point, and I have those kinds of markers that have like a calligraphy end and a fine point end. Those are really fun to work with. And then again, I work a lot with spirals too, because spiral is the way of the divine, the way of the universe. I'll go back to purple for that, since that's a divine color. It's also the golden ratio, I believe. The golden ratio. So, these are, everything that I've drawn are repeated. Everything we draw pretty much that's related to nature are the shapes that we find repeated over and over again. And I do think that has a great deal to do with why we're able to relate to it, why when we're drawing, we can hear the divine voice within us. And we've all got that divine voice, no matter what we call it.
You're doing pretty good, Maddie. Look how much better you're getting.
Oh, it's amazing to me.
And if you're doing this at home, we'd love to see your drawings after Maddie's course.
Look, I'm learning. It's a whole new experience.
See, you're never too old to learn.
That's right. And I think that's a wonderful thing too to remember when you're working with kids. It's like when I do the symbol project, we do a project with children, is I'll tell them a story and then we will do symbols for it. Then we'll decide as a group what symbols are we going to use to tell our story, because we're not going to tell it in writing. We're just going to make symbols that remind us of the story. And then from there, when we do this, I'll put the symbols on the smart board, or a child will put the symbols on a smart board for me. And from there, actually, I always use a whiteboard because the symbol project, I pretty much need to draw. But from there, you just tell them you can use these symbols or not. And it's the same thing. It's the same thing with mandala drawing. It. You really have to, when you're working and doing it with children, to let them know there's no wrong way to do it. And that is, I think, one of the most important gifts that we can give today's children, because unfortunately, schools are very much about the wrong way to do things. So grading alone can make children feel like they're not good enough. And I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me on this, and I'm perfectly willing to accept that. However, I do believe that when we look at schools like Montessori or ethical culture or the Waldorf schools, and we see the kinds of wonderful citizens these schools produce, that and there's many examples, that when we take the grading out of it and the expectation that the other 80% of us that are not inclined towards math and science and the physical manifestation of things, the material world, that's only 20% of us really seem to have any kind of inclination towards math and science. And that's 80% of the kids that are in school that are getting C's or sometimes D's in those subjects, or even worse, are now made to feel bad about themselves because our whole public school system is designed around science, technology, engineering, and math. For a few years in there, and some states still have this, it was science, technology, engineering, art, and math, STEAM, which at least when those artist children get in there and do their art, they're getting some validation. But then, what we really need to do as adults is commit to the idea that we are going to be non-judgmental, especially when it comes to children, and no expectations. So I always love to say, somewhere in my house here, I have a sign that says non-judgment day is coming, because that's the thing. That's what I think, it's my camera, because it does this sometimes. That's what makes us most feel like we're not good enough, is that other people are out there telling us we're not good enough. They're good enough. That's what when I'm working with circles, I always encourage people, and one of the things I've learned to do with myself is to say, good enough. Sometimes you're making your bed and people are like perfect. They're like pulling the everything, and everything's smooth. And for many people that do that, that is a creative process, to make the bed and make it look as beautiful as possible. For me, not so much. So I make a bed, I put the things up, I look at it, it's like, okay, good enough. So everybody has their things that you just let go of and go, this is good enough. I'm not going to compare myself to the person over there that's drawing that kind of mandala. I'm going to say, this is good enough for me. This is great. And in exploring your own art and what your own expression, then you get to know yourself better too. I think,
And
there
here,
we go. That was last fall's mandala, nature mandala. Beautiful. Man, I haven't looked at that one in a while. We're about to do our spring one in a couple weeks. That was another fall one from another year. There's a drawing. There's another mandala. I do a lot of work with vines and different symbols. That's my vine work. Oh, I love my happiness tree. So, I mean, once you start doing art, I think you just get more and more creative. That's a spring mandala that we did, the Women's Circle did. And that's another fall one because I see squash. And what we do, one of the practices, I live on the water, and one of the practices we try to do with the mandala is the teaching that nothing is permanent. So we'll put them down by the water because in my backyard, if it's high tide, it will often flood over the bulkheading and it disappears. And it's also really interesting to watch over the few days what happens to it. That, if you can do it, I mean, I realize not everybody lives by the water and has that opportunity, but that is a really great teaching for ourselves and for children. Nothing is permanent. The only thing that's permanent is love. That's it, permanent, and spirit and the creator and whatever you'd like to call that, right? Ooh, that's pretty.
Oh, there's Anupam's.
Hi,
I have
Mandy.
mine. If you put mine
Hi,
on, that is
Conan.
pretty Anupam's. Oh, I can add me.
You
Add
can
me.
add you.
Here's mine. Not quite as nice, but
Oh no, it's
we're not
beautiful.
comparing.
We're not comparing. And you're doing it in a short period of time. I mean, mine, unless it's a very simple one, like that one, is that a digitized version of mine, Conan?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So the original of that's gorgeous. The original of that one probably took a lot longer to draw than than we're doing right here. So I think that you can't be calm if you're judging yourself,
Right.
you know, and
comparing.
comparing.
And did anybody else make a mandala during the conversation? Erna Lee made, we need to see Erna Lee. She raised her hand. Can
Yay.
someone put Erna Lee on the screen? I probably can if I have any idea how to do that. I can't even find Erna Lee. Anupam, Zar. And let's give a round of applause for Anupam and Zar because God bless them.
Yay.
Yay. Erna Lee
This
is
would
here.
not run
I'm
without them.
here.
Oh, there you are.
And actually, I hit that button by accident, but I do want to say I am here, but I can't see, like I can't get into the chat or I can't do any of that. It says it's disabled. So if anybody has any questions for you, if they're in the same boat as I am, it says join as a panelist. Okay.
I moved you to the panelist, Erna Lee.
Oh, that's a whole different experience. There we go.
There you are.
I feel I'm back from no man's land.
So people that are not panelists can't comment?
Yeah, apparently, because this happened to me the other day and I didn't really understand what I had done.
So can everybody be a panelist?
Because
okay, well,
otherwise you
anyway,
might
Erna
think that
Lee,
there's nobody there.
did you draw a picture?
I did not.
A mandala?
But I do
But look
those things.
behind you. You have all that beautiful vine
Yeah,
and
I've got birds
birdies
now.
behind
I've got
you.
birds. But I want to say I do mandalas instinctively all the time. I've done them ever since I was a little girl.
Ooh.
And I do mountains and I do streams and I do all sorts of things in my drawings, just for fun.
Yes, just for fun. I mean, it all started out for me just to relieve anxiety, and it works. I mean, and I still do it. I still do it to relieve anxiety. I have to re-edit the book because there were a bunch of mistakes that had to be fixed, and we went through the book the other day, and in reading the poetry, I really am amazed at how calming and how how much it can answer a question. And I think there's a lot to be said for doing these things with the idea that you are connected to the divine when you do this, and putting in your mind and your heart, especially your heart, when you begin, that I want to create whatever I need to see, and let that lead to whatever I need to hear. And if you start a mandala even with a question for yourself in it, often that gets all of mine started as answers to questions for myself. All of them, I've been doing them for over 20 years, but probably the first 10 years were much more all about me. And then after a while, I started to realize that they brought up messages that I think the world needed to hear. Mm-hmm. So, and Kanan and I are working on a coloring book of these. So, and
I think Kanan's demonstrating.
Yeah.
Maddie, I'm here for you if you want anything to get drawn and show the audience how you like to draw your mandalas.
Oh, good. Feel free to do that right now. So I'm going to put, I'm going to put in the chat those quotes from Mother Teresa.
Okay, so Kanan's going to, Kanan, I would just start a mandala on your own and show how you can start it.
Yes.
You already drew those lines?
So basically, I'm doing it digitally right now. But when you're doing it on paper, you have to get your symmetry done yourself. But digitally, there are apps that can get you symmetry lines that are already there to guide you. And when you start drawing, like for example, if I draw a line here, so it will get drawn in all the sections so that the symmetry is maintained.
Wow.
So as Maddie told that we're working on a coloring book, so the symmetry is very important there. So if we're drawing any line, we need that it is symmetrical, totally symmetrical. Like even if we draw a petal, it should be equal on all the sides. So that is how we draw digitally. But even with hand, if you start drawing and draw it regularly, you will be able to get the symmetry yourself. So
Can I ask which program you're using with that?
I'm using Sketchbook. It looks like this. It has a pencil in its logo. So I'm using that. And let me try one of Maddie's mandalas only. Maddie, do you want any specific mandala to be drawn or anything? You can guide me with the kind of design you want and I can draw it live.
Anyone you pick, sweetie, is fine with me. That's a good one. That's a pretty simple one. That's a nice one. All right, let me just see this. How come I'm not posting?
So usually in mandalas, we start with a circle so that it guides our symmetry. And mandalas are mostly around circles, although there are other shapes also. But usually we see circles and semicircles or shapes around it. So we make petals, we make some lines. I love Maddie's mandalas designs because they're so full of different shapes and full of nature as she loves it.
Yeah. And that's just me. I mean, mine reflect a lot of my relationship with nature. I mean, nature, the woods, the ocean have always been the place where I would choose to go to feel the most calm as a kid. So I think that's why once I started drawing these, that's reflected in the artwork. This mandala is a really good one to show, Conan. Thank you, because it really is simple. Some of them, like the previous one, can be more complex, but it's just the idea that you personally are attempting to make it as symmetrical as you can, to fill when you start filling in the negative spaces and you're kind of trying to make it continue to be round. You really have to focus, and there's nothing else in your mind other than looking at how can I continue to create this. I wouldn't even say that I think about, oh, how can I continue to create something beautiful? I'm just creating. And I think that that's a pretty important thing to do. I'm looking to see if I have some that are black and gray and brown, and they're not always necessarily beautiful and colorful. Oh, here's one I did just in pen, because I've learned to listen to that inner voice that says, okay, time to draw a mandala, and sit down and do it, because I think that's the other thing about listening to the divine, is you have to practice. If the divine calls you, you have to practice stopping and listening, and even whatever it is to do, and so this is one that was just a spiral.
So pretty.
Beautiful.
And I think with kids, that's just whatever they draw should be gorgeous. I think about your grandson, my grandnephew, Brooks. People that are innately artists, I do think, have that need to sort of look at their own work and say, oh, this could be better. Remember when he did that amazing piece that I think is hanging in your house?
Yes.
And he looks at the piece.
The leaves.
Yeah, for a 6-year-old, it's like incredible. And he looks at this
Actually, I believe he was 5 when he did it.
5 when he did it.
I'll see if I can take a snapshot of it.
And he looks at the piece at 5 years old and goes, I think that black line over there is too thick. So I think if your innate talent is that kind of artistry and drawing, you do tend to be a little more critical of your work, because you just have that divine inspiration to bring to the world something as beautiful as it can be, or as meaningful as it can be. Wow, Conan, nice. I don't know, Conan, you're an artist. When you draw, do you have that same feeling like Brooks got, where you would look at something and go, oh, I got to change that line?
Sorry, your voice just cut.
Oh, that's okay. Or Celia.
So there's I took a picture of Brooks's artwork. I sent it over to you guys, if you can put it on screen. It's not the best picture in the world, I'm sorry to say, but because there's a lot of light reflecting. But if you look at it, this was out of a little 5-year-old's mind, and this is what he put on paper. And when you look at it, it's very like within all the leaves, there's little drawings
and spirals.
And it's pretty big. It's 12 by 18, I believe. And he was 5 when he did this.
So the spiral, I'm just going to look at this for a second in terms of symbolism. The spiral, ancient symbol, lives in our brain. Nobody taught him a spiral. The leaf, definitely, leaves are very big in they're just there. We see them in nature. So I just think everybody should draw at some point, non-judgmentally. I think it's been a great blessing in my life, and I hope it continues to be a blessing.
It is. And we're going to talk a little bit about the poster contest we have going on for the Day of Calm. And after your workshop, Maddie,
Oh,
because
this
that's
is
open to
after my-
anybody.
yes.
And you can submit them, and the winning posters will go on merchandise like T-shirts and bags and things like that. But we'll display as many as we can on the website. And there's already been some made in India. In the college, those are college posters. So, but it's open to all ages. And
I'm going to have to leave you because I do have to get to another appointment that's not here. But I'm just going to show you the book real quick with another digitized interpretation by a different artist, Amalia Drews, of one of my mandalas. And when I say it's oracle poetry, it's because it's divine messages. And like with any oracle book, if you ask a question and you just flip and see what opens, oh, look, surrender. Always a good thing. Just surrender to love and light and your inner divinity. And I have to go. Thank you all for being with me. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your conference and your day.
well, thank you, Maddie, for being here and sharing your creative abilities and your ability to stay calm. I think after this one workshop, we already feel calmer if you are sitting and drawing and inspired to really put your just soft thoughts to paper.
Yep.
And just really calm your soul and sit down and do it with your kids. They'll love it. Get them off those screens.
Yep.
And
Okay, guys.
make your own. You can make a family mandala.
I love you all.
Bye, Maddie. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kanan and Anupam. Thank you, anybody who's joining us. Take care. Have a wonderful time.
Thank you for listening to the Pumped Up Parenting Podcast. If this episode was helpful to you, please share it with a friend and leave us a review that will help others. Wonder why kids don't come with a manual? Well, wonder no more, because I wrote you one, and it's just won a wonderful Mom's Choice Award. Go to celiasbooks.com and buy your copy of Raising Happy Toddlers, as well as my children's books. I appreciate you being part of my mission to help 10 million parents stop yelling at their kids. Please be intentional and hug on those kids of yours. See you at the next episode.